You know, what I have come to appreciate is that California is really the engine for the United States, and in some respects it's really the engine for the world. The makeup of the state, the demographics of the state are changing in material ways, so that it is a majority-minority, or about to be a majority-minority state, if it isn't already. 45% of the students at the University of California are now first generation. 30% are from historically underrepresented groups. We have more people receiving financial aid than in each of 4 of our campuses than the whole Ivy League combined. That reflects, I think, California. California is world class. It's always been at the head of innovation and creativity, and this notion of the California dream, which is really the American dream on steroids. One of the things I'm concerned about is that students who are in 9th grade, not our high school seniors, but our high school freshmen, who are making decisions about what classes they're going to be taking and what track they're going to be on, they prematurely self-select out of the classes that would qualify them for the University of California, out of the mistaken belief that they can't afford to go. The answer is they can, and we will help them get there. If your family makes $80,000 a year or less, you pay no tuition at the University of California. When I went to law school in the 1980s, wasn't that long ago, but and I went to a public university law school, the University of Virginia. There was only one woman on the entire faculty, and that was noticeable. And about 1/3 of the students in my class were women, I can put myself a little bit in the shoes of some of our other students today, Latino students, African American students, and if they look at the faculty, they see the same thing. So diversity really matters in that respect. That's why one of the first things I did was focus on postdocs. What are postdocs? These are students who are doing research after their PhDs, but they are researchers, they teach, they are future faculty, future inventors and creators in their own right. But that's going to be long-term, I think, a big source of diversity. Well, you need to know that you pay in-state tuition. You need to know that we have put aside or set aside some additional funds to provide special student services for undocumented students, including helping to offset some of the financial burden caused by the fact that you can't get federal aid or work-study grants. And you have to know that we are here to educate Californians, and it doesn't really matter to us, to me, whether they are documented or undocumented. Matters to me whether they're a good student. Matters to me, whether they are really pursuing their dreams and their passions and putting themselves into that. But it doesn't matter to me whether they happen to be undocumented. Let me give you an example. So I was at UC Irvine last week, and I was in a law school class. The class was on business associations, and the professor was really walking students through what's a leverage buyout and what's a derivative, and how did we get to some of the real meltdown in Wall Street that we saw the last few years. And she was going through it, but she would stop and she would say, all right, I don't have time in our 50 minutes together to go into detail about this particular issue, but here's the link, here's the thing. And so the online education was really part and parcel of her overall teaching, right? And it was used to expand on what the students were getting. Right. Now that to me makes a lot of sense. The meltdown on Wall Street didn't happen because people didn't understand mathematics. It happened because of a crisis in values. And the humanities and a knowledge of the humanities, of history and philosophy and literature, so key for critical thinking, so key for exploring nuance, exploring how decisions are made and the ultimate values that are embodied in those decisions. That is then deployable in lots of different fields. Yeah. So I think we need to get out of this business of saying, you know, you can't get a job if you have a humanities degree. Yeah. That's absolutely not the case. Right. But I will tell you what you have when you have a humanities degree. You are a well-educated person. Your question goes to this notion that the universities have somehow retreated from public involvement in that sense, that they don't create the so-called public intellectual that they used to, or that they're kind of an ivory tower, independent of really addressing the real problems of the day. And so one of my visions for the University of California is to the extent that perception exists, is to wipe it away and to make sure that our talents are the things that we're doing in our laboratories, in our classrooms. You know, they focus on some of the world's most pressing problems. You know, world hunger being dealt with at Davis, all kinds of new medicines being dealt with at University of California, at San Francisco, and our other medical schools. Energy, climate change, these are all things that we have leading efforts underway in, and that's not isolated from being involved in the public. That should be being linked up with what the public is looking for. Yeah. So if I can help be that bridge, I hope to do so.